So I'm from Customer I/O. My name is Matt Pahnke. Just like to, in the spirit of this being a workshop, I'm hoping that we can make it as interactive as possible. I know it's a big group, but I will have some questions kind of throughout the presentation. Please, feel free to share your thoughts. I'd love for you all to learn, from each other as much as you potentially do from me. Just maybe a quick show of hands. How many of you are Customer I/O users or customers? Great, a few. Anyone here hearing of Customer I/O for the first time? All right, well, that's good. So hopefully you're here to learn a little bit about what we do, but more importantly, some of the thoughts around driving better engagement, certainly through our apps and the other channels that we use when it comes to marketing your products. So again, like I said, don't intend for this to be a pure product pitch, more of kind of an understanding of what's going on in the industry and what are some best practices when it comes to some of these things. Customer I/O, if you are hearing kind of us for the first time, it is a little bit of a unusual name, I would say. One thing, I've been at Customer I/O for about a year. One of the things that really kind of attracted me, though, in talking to our founder and talking to some of the people at the company, is this whole idea of how the customer is really at the center of everything that we do. And I think it's an important concept, not only in the thinking about you as potentially our customers or the people that use our product, but more importantly, the customers that you serve. And it's not that at Customer I/O we're just concerned about the people using our product, but it's really the relationships that you are building with your customers downstream that lies at the heart of everything that we do, everything that we plan, everything that we build, really every conversation, ultimately that we have. And so with that in mind, a little bit of an introduction. I run product marketing for Customer I/O. I don't have my glasses. Obviously, I look a lot smarter probably in the picture than I do in person. It's great to be back in London. I had the opportunity to live here almost 25 years ago. I don't remember nearly as many sunny days as we have out there today, so that certainly was a nice surprise. Just a little bit about my background, because I think it helps understand. It might help you better understand sort of my approach to data and customers. I started my whole kind of tech journey almost 20 plus years ago. Now, prior to that, when I was living in London, I was manufacturing golf clubs, which was a whole different world, nothing related to technology. And we do happen to be sponsoring the happy hour later today. And so if you want to talk a little bit more about golf and golf equipment, happy to get into that at that time. But my first exposure to the technology world was with a company called Veritas Software. While I was there, they were acquired by Symantec. We really focused on storing data and making data available in all situations, disaster recovery, that sort of a thing. Symantec, obviously, we were protecting people's data. Had the opportunity to go from there, spent about 10 years, and that's kind of the old school world of networking and enterprise software. Went from there and spent about almost 5 years at Dropbox. And there had the opportunity, one, to ride that rocket ship, which I'm sure many of you are on similar journeys yourselves, the companies that you're with, but really had the opportunity to talk to people about the importance of sharing data and why why data just kind of sitting in silos or sort of kept to yourself really doesn't do a whole lot. And then from there, I had the opportunity to get into the calling space, call center space with Dialpad. That was a place where we were harnessing crazy amounts of data, meaning every customer interaction was being recorded, whether that was through chat or whether that was online. And that was sort of where we began to look at like what AI can do when it comes to data, the way to harness all of that kind of raw information, bring it into one place, and improve the interactions that you're having with your customers. Now, in that case, it was interactions that you were having with customers primarily on the phone. But as we kind of look to this new world, of app first and app forward, we have the opportunity to apply those same learnings, those same insights in whole new ways, especially through apps. And then, of course, as I mentioned, I've been here at Customer I/O for a little under a year. Now, with that being said, it's been a really exciting time at Customer I/O. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our products and things, but we've been in rapid expansion mode. We've been adding products to our portfolio. Again, always with this idea of keeping the customer at the center of things. But we just recently, for those that are familiar with our company, we did go through a rebrand just about a month ago. So the colors may seem a little bit different, the logos may seem a little bit different, but we're really kind of at this point of wanting to get out and share kind of our message with the world a little bit more broadly. And that's what brings us here to the App Promotion Summit and some other events around the world. Now, in my past life, I did a lot of kind of standing up in front of groups like this, some a little smaller, some much larger. This is really the first time that I've had the opportunity to stand in front of a group and as a representative of Customer I/O and talk about some of these exciting things that have been happening. And so it just kind of goes along with our desire to kind of get out and talk to the people that use our products, to talk to people about how they're using our products. And that's just really exciting thing for us to kind of get back to face-to-face and talking about things in an entirely new way. So like I said, data has really been at the core of most of the things that I've done in my career. It's probably central to the things that you're doing day in and day out in your roles. I don't think anyone would argue that, obviously technology is always changing, it's always advancing, but it seems to be advancing and changing at an even higher clip, a faster pace than ever before. Our tech stacks are growing, are getting more complex, but at the end of the day, we don't want to lose sight of what we're ultimately trying to do, and that is interact with our customers. Now, unfortunately, the same way that our lives are getting more complex and the way we manage marketing, the way we manage communications is getting more complex, our customers are being hit with more messages than ever before. And I mean, you see it, I don't know, I feel it even more maybe in a city like London, when I'm walking the streets, when I'm on the tube, there's messages on video screens, there's messages on billboards, my phone is pinging me with push messages and SMS, I get emails constantly, all of us do. And so as marketers, the real challenge is how do we sort of cut through all that clutter? How do we create messages and send messages that are meaningful and kind of and get those in front of our customers at the right time in the right place? Well, at Customer I/O, we firmly believe that the whole way of kind of cutting through all that craziness really comes down to the data that you're using. And so, really it's a question of the cleanliness of that data, the accuracy of that data, and the more that you're able to be precise with your data, the better relationships you're able to form ultimately with your customers. As marketers, we walk that very fine line between science and art, and we feel that when the data is clean, when we can trust the data, and it's telling us it's giving us the signals that we need to be more productive. It actually frees marketing up to be more creative, to think in more kind of targeted ways about the messages we're trying to send and the actions we're trying to inspire our customers to take. And so again, at the heart of things, that's really why Customer I/O was built, with this idea to help our customers, each of you potentially, and some of you that raised your hand, harness your data in a better way, send more impactful messages, and ultimately form better relationships, with your customers. So again, there are only a few hands, that went up as far as people that are using us today. Just, a very, very quick kind of primer. We've been around for about 10 years. We're in nearly 40 countries around the world. Over 7,000, I think it's actually more than 7,500 customers right now are using us across a wide variety of industries, a lot of different use cases. We have kind of three products. I'll talk about those, briefly, but really, each of these work on a unified platform to deliver meaningful, to help our customers deliver meaningful interactions. We really do everything that we do with an eye toward helping you kind of scale your business and grow your messaging sort of sophistication. And then again, you'll hear this a lot, but really keeping data at the center of everything that we do, allowing you the freedom to use your data, really data without limitations when it comes to telling the messages and telling the stories that you have to tell. As far as our platform is concerned, Journeys is our flagship product. It's kind of where most of the magic happens. It is a omni-channel messaging platform. Really allows you to craft and automate messages, we believe, with unmatched flexibility and customization. Gives you kind of in broad strokes how the platform functions, but really what we're trying to do are these things that you see kind of along the bottom. We're trying to empower each of you to reach out to your customers, whether it be onboarding, whether it be activation, whether it be retention, whether it be cross-sell, upsell of some of those things. Along with our Journeys platform, along with the Journeys product, we also offer a customer data platform, so data pipelines, getting your data in and out in as clean a way as possible. And then for, many of you may or may not be aware that we are also the parent company of Parcel. That happened a little over a year ago. A platform for creating, coding, previewing, and collaborating on key messages. Okay, so with kind of that maybe somewhat overdrawn introduction, I want to get kind of into the nuts and bolts of what we're here to talk about today, and that really is, some of the challenges that we're facing, some of the ways that we can use data in a more kind of creative way. Anybody feeling brave? Is anyone willing to kind of share with us what are kind of your biggest pain points right now when it comes to creating and executing campaigns? And yes.
Our data's not clean.
Okay.
It's of it, but it's
yeah. And other people share kind of similar issues. Yeah, we'll see a few hands. Yeah, that's certainly one that we hear a lot about, and something that that I think each of us is trying to tackle in one way or another. Other issues. I mean, what's keeping you up at night? What's getting your boss to call or manager and say, hey, why isn't this happening? What's going on here? And what are some of the other pain points? Yeah.
Sending drip campaigns to the wrong people and having to deal with that.
All right, yeah. And I think we all, we probably belong to different communities, different forums. Sometimes there's funny examples. Sometimes there's very sad and very scary examples of people getting the wrong message, maybe perhaps at the wrong time and with the wrong audience. And yeah, I think that is, a prime kind of area where this whole idea of like data and activation and kind of the misalignment between those two can create, real issues. Other pain points in your kind of day-to-day work when it comes to the overall campaigns, execution? Yes.
Setting up campaigns in lots of different languages.
Okay.
Across different markets.
So globalization issues and kind of some of the consistency you see there. Yeah, I think that's, again, really, really common, probably something that everybody in here deals with. Any others that people want to call out, share with the broader group? Yeah, please.
Measurement and messy holdout groups.
Yeah. So we're putting a lot of money into it. I know, when I've been in a little bit more kind of demand gen type roles, people are coming and saying, hey, where's my money going? What are we getting for the money that we're putting in? So certainly the measurement side is key. This is a little bit, more of a specific question, but, strategies you're finding most effective when it comes to engagement and retention on mobile platforms. Anything come immediately to mind? Anything that, anybody here has been doing recently that they feel has been especially impactful? And I do appreciate the interaction. Any thoughts?
Yes.
Sorry? Push notifications. We're seeing a huge growth. I'm going to talk a little bit about that from a trend standpoint. Other people using push successfully these days? Yeah, see a few hands. Other thoughts? Welcome emails. And so welcome as far as first logging in, as far as part of the onboarding, just kind of overall, kind of getting them early in the cycle. Yeah. Great. And then marketing channels you're finding most impactful. We kind of led into that. It sounds like some push, a little bit on the content side. Any other particular channels that people are seeing work maybe more effectively than things have in the past? Yeah. Email. And when you say email, are you seeing kind of a shift? Meaning, email was big for a while. It kind of trailed off. Yeah.
growing, but I think because of the state of our data, it's kind of all got to go on.
Okay.
But we just can't be any more sophisticated.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see a few nodding heads. It's easy to kind of default back to email. It's something that we kind of trust. It's a safe space. Any thoughts generally about channels? All right. Well, I appreciate you kind of talking. I appreciate you sharing some of your problems and issues. I mean, hopefully that's why we're here, at the conference today, is to learn about ways that we can, overcome, some of those things, or sort of see where the market is going, learn from one another, see, where we can make tweaks and become, more effective. As in my role, I have the opportunity to kind of take a look at the industry. I have the opportunity to take kind of a step back and sort of see, what different companies are doing in the marketing engagement space. And some of the trends I think that are worth calling out is we're sort of on this precipice of kind of a new world or a new dawn when it comes to personalization. I mean, it's amazing, you go back to some of the movies from 10, 15 years ago, where the person would walk down the street and a video screen would pop up and say, hey Matt, have you tried such and such? I mean, we're actually there, right? If you log into one site somewhere and all of a sudden you're going to you're fed advertisements for that particular product. And AI is just going to accelerate that. The amount of data that we're collecting, the amount of data that's being collected is really taking this whole idea of personalization to a new level. Now, I don't know about each of you, but when I see my name, when I see reference to maybe an action that I've taken, when I see something that is that actually interests me, that's when my ears kind of perk up and I begin to engage at a higher level. So, what this really means is we have the opportunity to more tailor our content and also match it with real-time content. So, making sure that we're serving up sort of the right idea, the right concept at the right time, at the right place, and in the right way. And as you can tell by everybody in this room, and probably the way some of your teams are growing, as we look at some of the different industry reports and whatnot, spending on marketing software is one of the kind of top priorities for a lot of companies. Other ways that kind of things are changing, privacy and security is always going to be a concern. Now that things are getting a little bit tighter when it comes to cookies and some of those sort of tracking mechanisms, marketers are looking to kind of go back to kind of fundamentals and really put a lot of value on owned media platforms and audiences. And then as we talked about some of the challenges here, the whole idea of managing data on a day-to-day basis is becoming increasingly important. So at Customer I/O, we had the opportunity this past year to commission kind of a state of messaging report. It's a fantastic document. You can download it from our website. I can also provide a link. But interviewed kind of hundreds of companies out there about some of kind of the latest trends as it relates to messaging. And the one thing that we saw and kind of heard almost more than anything else coming out of that was the rise or the move toward multi-channel messaging. And so 44% of brands using two or more channels, and those that were adding additional channels getting even better performance than the more channels that were deployed. And then we also heard some comments about push and some other things. 47% increase in mobile messages over 2023. But along with this, everybody's wrestling with, as we talked about, the quality of the data and also kind of the complexity of the tech stack, using a lot of different point tools to do different things. On one side, how do we get our data in to our engagement platform? Once it's in the engagement platform, how do we make sure that data is clean? How do we make sure that it's routed to the right places? What tools are we using to create content? And it's a matter of not only multiple tools, but then multiple people using different tools and all of the workflows involved in that. Are my marketers waiting for my developers waiting for engineering? And it often becomes so complex that oftentimes we see marketing teams sort of defaulting to what's easiest, going back to, hey, let's just send emails. All of this other stuff, is getting a little bit too complex. So with that being said, I would like to we talked a little bit about this, but any other kind of questions, thoughts, anything anyone would like to share about challenges as it relates to data? I know we heard, this keeping it clean and obviously keeping it accurate. Other data challenges you might be having when it comes to your marketing campaigns?
Leveraging the web data for the app campaigns, so this connection between the two platforms.
Yeah, and depending on the tool you're using, making sure it's in the right format, making sure that those two places are talking to one another. So yeah, it's a question of, is it clean coming in, and then does it actually work with the investments that we've made? Other challenges when it comes to data in your marketing campaigns? Yeah, please.
For us, it's the automation. It's quite a manual process at the moment. We've had to upload, import.
Got it. And so not having kind of maybe one central sort of data store that's updated in real time and that allows you to, yeah. And I think when it comes to pretty much to most processes within technology, we're always looking to automate. But I think we do find the more tools there are, the more variables we have in the data that we're collecting, the more difficult it can sometimes be to automate some of that. So I love that. Other particular challenges when it comes to data? All right. Any particular strategies that you're employing when it comes to managing your data? Anything that you found that's working particularly well when it comes to keeping things clean, when it comes to both on the acquisition side and also the maintenance side over time? And I do appreciate those brave souls that are willing to raise their hand and speak in the group. Yeah, please.
It'd be interesting to get your perspective on, okay, what does clean data look like at the various steps in the flow, just as a general, like, is there any good principles to start to say, if you're in a place where you feel like you don't have clean data, what does that look like, and what's the first steps in the journey to get there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Anybody want to respond to that before I give my 2 cents? Yeah, so I think it is an incredibly complex, it's a difficult thing for I think everyone in the room. We do believe it starts with the way you bring your data in, right? And so talk a little bit about the value of a customer data platform and a CDP. But I think making sure that you have the right CDP in place with the right connections to where your data lives is where it all, in our view, where it all starts. I think that a second part of that then is making sure that the platform you're using for marketing automation is one that has the flexibility to accept data in different ways, and kind of bring that all together. Other kind of thoughts on maintaining clean data? All right, and I'd be curious, what is kind of at the top of everyone's wish list when it comes to data, when it comes to campaigns? If you could, snap your fingers, flip a switch, anything that you wish you had right now that you don't. Yeah. I'm sorry? Oh, so the ability to easily personalize. Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Leveraging the power of AI tools in combination with customer own.
Okay.
Connecting different types of tools to, enable content creation, personalization, but also data analysis.
Yeah. Oh, so both on the measurement side, but also, yeah, and then once it's measured, what kind of decisions, can we make based on that? That's fantastic. And for what it's worth, both areas that we are spending a lot of time and effort. And I will say, we, here at the conference today, we actually have a fairly large group. I think there's 7 or 8 of us. We have our head of partnerships, actually, Billy, if you want to raise your hand. We have our head of EMEA sales, there in the back. Head of sales in general is, Chris. Sterling runs our demand gen. We have a number of people who would love to engage with you throughout the rest of the conference. Most are wearing kind of black shirts, Customer I/O. We have a booth. We're sponsoring the happy hour later. So please, like I said, I wanted to give you kind of a taste for what Customer I/O is and how we're, how we're dealing with some of these issues as it relates to data, as it relates to marketing engagement. But for specific questions, or if you want to get into any kind of discussion around how we're solving these problems and looking to solve them in the future, please just grab one of us or stop by the booth. So in the last couple of minutes that we have, I did want to shoot through very quickly some of the best practices as kind of we see it, sort of the customer I/O view of improving, of using your data and improving your marketing engagement overall. Some of this is pretty, we think of as being kind of table stakes or something that we've been doing for a while, but obviously A/B testing, customization, experimenting with new channels, the ability to iterate very quickly and test up to 20 variations is actually something that that you can do very kind of easily and intuitively within Customer I/O. Making push notifications visually appealing. It's not just push notifications, but obviously every touch point that we have with customers, we want to make sure that they're as attractive as possible. In kind of the CIO world, you have the ability, to embed images and GIFs, deep links, all kinds of good pieces, and that's also on the push side. Yeah.
On the push notifications, I feel like a couple of years ago it was great. Everybody opens them and everybody wants them. Now you get 1,000 of them, so nobody's opening them.
Yeah.
What are your best practices when it comes to not overdoing it?
Yeah, I wish there was kind of a magic answer. Oh, you send it once every 2 weeks on Thursday at 2 o'clock. But I think it really comes down to the data side, and not to kind of sort of reiterate the same things. But the more you can personalize that message, the more you can personalize not just the content, but also the timing, and look at kind of past behaviors. I think it dictates the kind of things. But you're right. I mean, that's kind of going back to the beginning of the presentation. Everybody's getting a million of all of these things. And so the more we can customize it, the more we can personalize. Also making sure that the messages that you get through are clean, meaning that there's nothing worse than a misspelling, getting somebody's, if you are trying to personalize, getting somebody's name wrong, making sure that the links actually are clean, and so the functionality certainly exists there. Measurement kind of goes without saying, but really you want to make sure that whatever platform you are using, that it has the depth that you need to report on all the actions, all the money that you're spending on the marketing side. Obviously legality, you want to make sure, especially in different countries, different geographies, making sure that you're security compliant. Making sure that mobile responsive, again, this sort of goes without saying if you're going to be working on a mobile platform, but there are a number of tools available out there. We have Parcel embedded in ours. And you want to, respect privacy and clearly offer opt-out options. Having a robust subscription center is one of the best ways to do that. And then, of course, we've talked a little bit about clean data. Obviously, we could go probably spend an entire session on how to clean data properly, but making sure that it's ingested and that it's maintained in real time becomes key. In the interest of time, I'm not going to, something to think about as far as best practices maybe that we didn't name, and we'd love to, as I say, talk a little bit more about any of that outside of here. What I would like to do for those that maybe have not seen it in action, is run us through just in conclusion, I hope, a quick video. So this is the Journeys platform. We're going through and actually creating a campaign in real time. In this case, I believe we're doing an abandoned cart campaign. So go in there and put together the name. We then need a trigger. So in this case, it is going to be people, I believe, that put something in their cart, but did not ultimately purchase. We then, go through and set up the event, set up the filters, and then we go and we get the opportunity to, and set a goal in this case. And so I believe what we're doing here on the goal is really hoping somebody purchases within the next 2 weeks. So then we go to our visual kind of drag and drop, but this, by the way, is about a 3-minute video, and then we'll be done. Go ahead and build the first email. In this case, you have the opportunity to drag and drop creator, rich text, or code. You also have ideally templates that you've already put together in the past. So in this case, go through, add the ability to customize who you're sending it to. So in this case, the first name. Go ahead, you take a look at the preview. Everything looks all right. We go back to the workflow builder, put in a time delay on when that will actually be sent. And then with that, we go into kind of a multi-branching part of the workflow. And with the branch, I think this goes ahead, and we're going to go to CMS from here. So again, all very simple, fairly intuitive. We're dropping in the SMS. Again, go back into our creation tool, have the opportunity to put in whatever message we're looking for, go into our library, pull in images, set up the SMS aspect. We're now can go ahead and, because it's multi-branching, we're going to go with an email, but in this case, we're going to do an A/B test on that email. In one case, I believe it's a 35% discount. Again, going back to our copy. And then I think in the other case, we may have done like 45%, but the video is not going to build that out because I think we've already, so forget about me, slightly different. We then are going to do a push notification following that. So again, this really is an omnichannel way to approach all of this. Also an A/B test on the push notification. Have the opportunity to go in, very visual, very easy, intuitive. Put in what it is that you're trying to accomplish with the push. And in this case, also A/B, and we won't go into that in a great. We won't walk you through the creation in both cases because obviously it's the same with both. And then with that, kind of a capstone. Oh, sorry, the second push. And then a capstone email for the campaign. Again, we're not going to build that out because we already went through that process. So now you're ready to go. Take a quick look, make sure all the settings are correct. You can then go through and see your entire workflow from top to bottom. And then as we get, kind of to the most important part, we go ahead and push that live, and then you have the opportunity to take a look. Obviously, a new campaign, no metrics, but you'll see a page here that shows, the kind of metrics you can track in the future. So again, we've talked a lot about, the importance of data, the way the industry is changing. At Customer I/O, we feel like we have some good solutions to some of that, but hopefully, you've taken away a few things as far as where the industry is going, and if you piqued your interest on the Customer I/O platform, look for our black shirts, stop by the conference hall. We look forward to having deeper conversations with each of you. Thank you very much.